Well, what a game in the divisional round between the Rams and Eagles. This game did not disappoint, was way closer than this first matchup between both of these teams, and I'm absolutely stunned. I thought the Rams should have won this game, had so many opportunities. Those late turnovers in the fourth quarter would ultimately be the thing that put the nail in the coffin for this Rams team, and this was a very devastating way to lose because you felt like looking at this Rams team going down at the very end of the game in the fourth quarter with multiple opportunities to win it. That late false start, some missed protection up front as well, really ultimately killed this team. But I think if you're a Rams fan, you've got to look at this season, even though you ultimately came up short, going on the road against Philadelphia in a tough, snowy game. You have to look at this year as a success. I don't think anybody thought that Los Angeles would realistically be in this situation, considering this young defense that they had, this questionable offensive line that was really injured all year long. And how would Matthew Stafford hold up at his age? And I thought that Stafford had a heck of a year. He had a great game. Really, this Rams team, something that was a kind of an Achilles heel for this team was this offense's ability to kind of go away a little bit at times. And that's what we saw in the second and third quarter. They had that really, really good drive in the first quarter, but they were kind of quiet in the second and third and really had to rely on that defense. And that's what we saw against the Vikings. This offense didn't need to be great, but they kind of went away a little bit. And they had the tendency to do that the last 4 weeks of the season. This offense didn't look great. Now, I know one of them, they were all rested because they were getting ready for that postseason push, but this offense had tendencies to kind of go away and be a little lackluster. And we all thought coming into this year that the Rams were going to win games because of this offense. And in the postseason, it ended up being the exact opposite. They had this incredible number of sacks, 16 in 2 games, with such a young defensive line. Jared Verse is going to be such a superstar in this league. Byron Young as well, another tremendous edge rusher. That injury to Fisk really proved to be a big loss with just how much of a factor Saquon Barkley was. And we saw how much he just really hurt this Rams team the first time they played each other. Saquon Barkley had multiple massive runs in this divisional game. He had multiple massive touchdown runs in the first time these two teams met in the regular season. And that was ultimately the thing that hurt the Rams the most, was their inability to stop this home run game per se from the Eagles. You saw Jalen Hurts have that massive QB counter run. We saw Saquon Barkley have those 2 massive touchdown runs as well. And that's what hurt this Rams team so much. But I am still super confident in this team moving forward. I think when you look at this defensive line, they played at such a high level, especially when the year came down to it, when you're playing your most important football. But they really played their best football at the end of the year. You're going to have Matthew Stafford, who's going to be 37 years old next year. His birthday's in February. You still have Puka Nacua. You still have Cooper Kupp. You're still going to have Kyron Williams. Of course, you're still going to have Sean McVay. And this defense is going to be way better. And now the division's really a massive question mark right now with the San Francisco 49ers. How will they play next year with a lot of the guys that they're going to have to pay? Brock Purdy expecting a big-time contract. We know that the Seattle Seahawks might have a question mark at the quarterback position if they decide to stick with Geno Smith or if they decide to roll with a rookie quarterback. And I don't think most Rams fans are too worried about the Cardinals, but I think this Rams team can definitely get back to this position next year. I thought they were capable of winning a Super Bowl this year, and I still believe that. I think they were the better team than Philadelphia when you break everything down. It just came down to those 3 big plays and those 2 really crucial fumbles at the end, but I thought for 60 minutes, the Rams played better, but it came down to really about 5 big plays. I still think they'll be able to win a Super Bowl in the future. I think Matthew Stafford has a lot of good football left in him. If they can just avoid those injuries, they would have been in a way better position than they were this year if it weren't for that 1-4 start, if it weren't for all those injuries on the offensive line, if it weren't for the injuries to Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Tyler Higbee. Like, this team was so banged up at the beginning of the year, and they did such a great job of handling adversity, and that's what this LA team can hang their hat on at the end of the day. I know in football and in sports, there really are no moral victories, but for the Los Angeles Rams, their ability to fight through adversity was something that should be inspiring to everybody. When you look at the LA Fires and this team bouncing back in the wild card round, getting to this divisional round against Philadelphia and being down 13 points with only a few minutes to go, going on that late drive, getting the football back, being that close to winning this game. This team It was all about resiliency all year long. At one point, they were 1-4 with all of those injuries, got to 4-4, would win 6 out of their final 9 games, would win the NFC West. I'm still confident in this Rams team, and I have been all year long. I think Matthew Stafford, even though everybody's super excited about Jaden Daniels, I still think he's the best quarterback in the NFC, and he'll be 37 going into next year. I still believe he's the best quarterback in the NFC. I believe that Sean McVay is the best coach in the conference as well. And when you have a duo like that, you're going to win a lot of football games. And I've been telling you guys that all year long. I think this team should be the favorite to win the NFC West next year. We know that Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua have religiously been injured over the years. And I think if they can get some injury luck, and if Stafford can still play at a high level, this defense is going to be so great. This defense is going to be so good. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, 2 tremendous rookies. I think Verse is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and he might be a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Like 2 huge sacks against Philadelphia, was able to bring that edge to this Rams team that they seemingly lost with Jalen Ramsey, and they kind of lost with Aaron Donald, and they lost with Marcus Peters like a few years ago. But this Rams team, they needed that edge. They needed that guy that's going to be able to give them life. And that's what Jared Verse does. He was talking all that trash to Philadelphia, and he backed it up in a big time way. Byron Young's going to be a superstar in this league as well. This defensive line, when you look at every single D line in the entire NFC, I think you can look at probably the Eagles defensive line, and you can look at the Los Angeles Rams defensive line. And those are probably the 2 of the best in the conference. And if this team could just be better defensively, they're going to be really good next year. I think this team, outside of Philadelphia and probably Washington, Detroit will be back again. Of course, Green Bay is going to take another step. But I think we can't sleep on this Rams team. I still think they're going to be back right where they were this year. And if they get a few more breaks, they'll be right back in it to potentially win a Super Bowl. I'm Caden Kubler, and thank you guys for watching.